God says your miracle is about to be missed if you skip this. Don't scroll past. There's a vital piece of information you need that's not quite clear yet. Take a deep breath before I tell you what I have to say. There are 3 days set aside today, tomorrow, and the next day. God has been watching you wait patiently for a long time. This isn't meant to scare or worry you. He thought that your calm patience had gone too far. It's like your name was written on these 3 days before you even woke up today. Why are you hearing this now? Because you can't handle what's coming all at once. It needs 3 mornings of sun. It takes 3 days, one after the other. You've missed every chance your spirit was meant to take because of that feeling of pushback. And that little voice telling you, this isn't for you. That little voice won't have the last word tonight. Yes, you do. Stay put. Relax. Today is the first day. The second is when things change in a quiet way. You'll never forget the third. It will become very clear in a moment why you were chosen to hear this. Think about what happened right now before you heard my voice and paid attention to these words. You were just going about your day or night, maybe taking it easy, driving or sitting quietly when everyone else was asleep or hadn't woken up yet. You slowed down inside. You didn't plan it. It wasn't something you chose, like what to eat or where. You just slowed down, stayed, and are now here. That's very important. That's not nothing. In that moment, your soul agrees with something before your mind even knows what it is. Take a moment to look around where you are now. Look at how everything looks the same as it did 30 seconds ago, but the air feels different. It's the same color light. The suns outside are still the same, but now things are different. This minute doesn't feel like the minute before it. Now you know what marked time feels like. Thunder doesn't show up at the right time. It doesn't cut the sky in half. It just shows up quietly like dawn creeping into a house that is still asleep. No one asks for it. There is no ceremony and no one needs to confirm it. And now tonight, this important time has come for you. Please picture something for a short time. Think about the morning of today. No matter where you are, the first bit of light coming in through your window or curtains. It's still quiet in your house. Your phone is close by and is silent for a change. You also wake up earlier than usual and see a different kind of dawn than the one you saw yesterday. That morning will be easy to spot when it comes. It will be clear as soon as your feet hit the ground that today is not like any other. You're reading these words now, even though it's the night before. Because God wanted you to know ahead of time. He didn't want you to be confused when you woke up. He didn't want you to be confused about what was going on that morning. He wrote these words ahead of time so that your spirit will be in the right place when the day starts. These 3 days will be like any other week for most people. But you chosen one are being taken out of your normal routine and put into a moment that has been waiting for the year your name finally matched God's calendar. That year is now. Now is that time. But first, I want you to know what's coming so you can choose to stay on track. Here's what today starts, what tomorrow changes, and what the next day after tomorrow ends. Prophets used an old Hebrew word for this kind of time. It's a word your spirit has been looking for without ever hearing it. That word is on its way. There is a short practice that you can start tomorrow morning that you can do 3 times a day. That is also coming. There is a story about a woman who missed a chance like yours and a story about what happens to a chosen one who takes it. And almost at the end of this message, I will say something over your life that I think will stay with you long after these words are over. Stay put. Things get clearer as you listen more. It will be harder to believe that what you're feeling is just in your head the longer you think about these words. These 3 days don't just happen. These 3 days aren't just a break on the calendar. You won't be getting a general spiritual message from a million people in a million different online places these 3 days. People who happen to be around during these 3 days are not alone. The next 3 days are like a special plan, a set of steps, or a message from God that was written over 72 hours. Your name runs through them all like a secret thread. If you only hear it, I want you to tell me the truth when I ask you a question. Have you seen the number 5 where it shouldn't have been? On an alarm clock you looked at by accident about a car that pulled out in front of you. On a certain date, someone said something without understanding why the 5th day of something, the 5th time, the 5th, has may come up in conversations you didn't start. Have they told you things like wait until next month by May or around the 3 without meaning to? That's not just noise in the background. That's not just your mind making things fit. Someone who has been chosen has picked up on a signal that has been there for at least 2 or 3 weeks while you've been living your normal life. Have you had any dreams? The ones that are so real that when you wake up, the dream is clearer than the room you're in. They might be there for 3 nights or maybe more or less places you don't remember going to. People who knew your name in the dream doors that opened felt heavier than they do in real life. That sounds like your spirit remembering something. That's the part of you that has always known coming forward while your mind slept for a few hours. Also, have you been having a weird mix of feelings lately? For an hour, you feel calm, peaceful, and almost amused by how light you are over the next hour. You'll be restless and look out to the horizon for something you can't put your finger on. After an hour, hope shows up for no clear reason. Then it all starts over again. That's not stress. You're not in a bad mood. When a door opens and your soul is getting ready to walk through it, that's how it feels. These 4 things, the numbers showing up, the month showing up, the vivid dreams, and the changes in mood aren't just thrown together at random. These are signs. The unseen world talks to the seen world in this way. Your spirit talks to someone who is paying attention. You, the chosen one, are reading this. That's always been the case, even when no one else did. People in your life told you you were thinking too much when they saw the signs you saw. You saw it even back then. Being able to notice isn't a flaw. That skill is something God gave you so you wouldn't miss these 3 days when they come. As I write this, a story comes to mind. A long time ago, there was a man named Joshua by a river. People who had been lost for 40 years were about to enter the land God had promised them. He told them something before they crossed. They were given 3 days. 3 days on the edge. During those 3 days, he told them, "Get ready because the Lord will do great things among you tomorrow." 3 days on the edge before crossing. There is a pattern to this. It's going to happen again. It's not important to know if the pattern is real. Today, chosen one is the first day of your week just like the Jordan River was at the beginning of theirs. The question is whether you will see that you are in the same pattern. What did those 3 days worth of people do? How did they get ready? There was nothing fancy about it. It wasn't a religious show. That wasn't easy or hard at all. They had to stop. They had to make peace. It was important for them to be open. That practice will soon be done in your way. The exact steps for each of the 3 mornings are on their way. Stay close. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give and it will be given to you is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose. Join the conversation and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. 3. After all of this, you need to know something else before we go any further. Why 3 days? Why not a season? Why not 1 year? Why did this shape show up in all of God's dealings with His people? For most of the year, the days and hours are all the same, and the weeks look like the days before. Mondays turn into Tuesdays, and months go by with nothing interesting happening. In Greek, they called this chronos, which means clock time or sequential time, like the kind you measure with a watch. The Greeks, on the other hand, had a different word. It was known as kairos. And clocks didn't measure kairos. Kairos was the ideal time, the unique window, the moment God chose for a certain event to happen for a certain person. If you live 10 years in Chronos, you will never live an hour in Kairos. And if you stay in a Kairos window for 3 days, your whole life will change. Today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow are not Chronos days, these are days of Kairos. Not like other times, these are unique times that have been taken out of regular time and held still by a strong hand. God plans things out. Take a look at any story where He was in it. He only acts during certain times. Nineveh was given 40 days, but the prophet walked through the city and the people answered in 3. He gave Esther a moment, and his words were so clear. For such a time as this, she didn't eat or drink for 3 days before she spoke. He let Joshua's people stay at the river for 3 days. 3 days before Lazarus got up. 3 days inside the fish. 3 days in the crypt. There's no magic in the number 3. Shape of the number 3 means that God is doing something important that needs your full attention, but not so long that you can't handle it all at once. Too long to stay on track a year. 1 day isn't enough for your heart to fully understand. 3 days is a good amount of time to make changes that don't get in the way of your daily life. That's why you have 3. You need to pay close attention to what I say because what you've heard about special windows so far is only part of the story. When people hear about this kind of window, they usually think it will do something to them. They take it easy. They are ready for the lightning. While they wait for God to save them, they do nothing. Kairos doesn't work that way. A special window is not a time when God takes away your choice and makes you change. There is a time called a special window when it is easier than usual to make changes inside. The air is more open. You have less to deal with. There is less of a wall between worlds. The wind is in your favor instead of against you. You still need to walk though. You need to still get ready. You still need to be open just like the people of Joshua did before they crossed. Getting ready today doesn't look like getting ready 3,000 years ago, which is good news. Getting ready means making room, moving more slowly, not trying too hard, and letting someone reach you. The exact method is coming. The exact steps for each of the 3 mornings are on their way. There is a Hebrew word I want you to remember before we start, so you'll be ready when it is used. It's the word the prophets used when God wanted to talk to one person in particular by name. That word will come in a moment when we know more about what tomorrow holds. Your spirit will know it when you hear it. Even if your mind has never heard it before, right now all you need to know is that these 3 days aren't like other days. They are not a message for everyone who is spiritual. They're a message from God that is written just for you with your face, your hurts, and your quiet hopes. If other people see this message, they will have a different experience that fits their own life. It was written with you in mind, though. The one that found you and came to your attention right now. It's not a public announcement that these 3 days are special. This letter is for you only. Before we go any further, your spirit needs to feel this. Most of what you've been told about how to receive what's being sent your way isn't based on the real way that choose ones become aware. We're about to talk about something that will surprise you. What's actually being released? Because today doesn't open the way most spiritual teachers say it does. Not many people talk about what tomorrow holds. What the day after tomorrow seals is the part you can't avoid, no matter how hard you try. But before we talk about today, you deserve something that most of the people here won't give you. You have the right to know the truth right away. Some of you already know. Since the beginning of this message, your spirit has been looking for an answer. There's no need to keep you guessing just to sell you something at the end. Let's say what's true before another minute goes by. It's possible to measure the vibration of the way you feel. That cycle of urgency and hope. That feeling of waiting at a doorway, not knowing what's on the other side. This kind of healing that these 3 days offer really takes 2 steps, not 1. One wave wakes up a part of you that has been sleeping since you were a child, and the other wave makes room for what was promised to come. It was the same conclusion reached by 2 researchers who worked in different decades and labs but did separate maps of these 2 steps. The Genius Song is the name of the first tool. It came from the work of Dr. Lake, a brain scientist. It brings out a part of you that was hidden when you were a kid. The Wealth Signal is the name of the second tool. It came from the work of Dr. Newton, who used to work as a researcher at Stanford. It clears the way for what was promised to finally happen. These 2 tools are meant to be used after each other. It was the Genius Song first, then the Wealth Signal. The order isn't just a guess. It's the order that makes everything work. If you're already interested in what was said, the links are in the description and the first comment below. There's no need to hurry. Wait for what's next. Because the names alone aren't the gift. What's going to happen next, why these 3 days are important for you, and what you should do on the first morning are all gifts. As you became aware of those names, the real reason you're here began to come back to you. Take a deep breath in. This has been going on for 20 minutes. You have been looking in one direction for longer than the world normally lets you these days. That's a big deal. There's something important about you that you've stayed and not jumped to the dozen other things that want your attention right now. Do not rush by it. Being still and quiet for 20 minutes can be the most spiritual thing that happens in that time. You don't have to learn anything or push yourself. You just have to be there long enough for the message to reach the right part of you. Just be for a moment. Do not try to get anything. Do not try to understand anything. Take a moment to notice that you're here. When these words first came out, something inside you said yes. And that yes hasn't changed yet. And as you pay attention, today starts to take shape in front of you. I want you to look at this gate. Not a real gate, but a gate in a 3-day plan that we can't see. It opens today. It ends the day after tomorrow. And in the middle, tomorrow is the quiet place where the most important work gets done. Think about the gate for a second. Picture or movie. It doesn't look like gates. It's not made of metal. It's not in a wall. It's more like the doorway between seasons. One that doesn't have hinges, but lets you pass through it for a short time. This gate has been with you for a long time, longer than you can remember. It had been waiting for the year when your name would match God's schedule. This is that year. That gate is now open. Today is the morning when the opening is clear to everyone who has been paying attention. Think about the dawn that morning again. No matter where you are, this is the first light hitting the nearest window. The people in your home may be still or already moving around, but you don't need to join them yet. Your phone nearby, and this time it's silent, or at least not as loud as usual. You'll know when that morning is really the morning. It will make you feel a certain way, not crazy or loud, just there in a way that other mornings haven't been. The gate will then open for you. Though it won't be sunrise or a certain time, you'll know that somewhere in the early hours of that day, you'll feel something special. Most people have the wrong idea about what today opens with. When most people hear about a special day, they think of big things that will happen outside. They are waiting for the call that will change their money. They are ready for a stranger to show up out of the blue. They're waiting for lightning. That doesn't work today. Today first opens up something inside you before it makes something happen outside. The level of recognition is what it opens. If there is a part of you that has been wondering for years, am I really chosen, or am I just hoping that part will get an answer today? There is no word for the answer. It comes in a more sneaky form. Your sense that the patterns you've been noticing are also aware of you is where it comes from. Realizing that what you thought was just wishing was actually how things are helped you get there. When you finally know something you didn't know for a long time, it comes to you quietly. That's what starts. Then tomorrow comes along and brings something new. Tomorrow is the day when everything falls apart quietly. Every thought you've had about what you can't have, who you aren't, and what wasn't meant for someone like you starts to melt away. Tomorrow won't be loud. It doesn't feel like fireworks after carrying it for so long. It feels like a weight that you forgot you were carrying. The next day is the day after tomorrow. That day is the seal. In the morning of that day, your foot touches the other side of the gate. Following that, what was true on tomorrow will be the new ground you walk on. On that day, the plan comes to an end, and you are in the new shape. God has been writing a message with your name all over the page for 72 hours, spread out over 3 days and 3 movements. My story is about a woman whose story fits with this one. There will be more about her later in this message, but for now she needs to be introduced so that you already know who she is when she comes back. 5 years ago she had a 3-day window. Back then she was younger, less sure of herself, and more guarded. A message found her while she was just living her normal life. A message about 3 days that were marked for her. She read. She felt something stir. But then her mind stopped her. She told herself it was a message for everyone. She told herself it wasn't just for her. She told herself that she would take care of it the next day. 3 days have gone by. She didn't do anything. After 5 years, the same things kept happening over and over again. It hurt the same way every time she waited and didn't know if her prayers were heard or if she was seen until a new window appeared. These words feel so important to you because of her. Not because it's not important, but because someone has seen what happens to a certain person who gets the alert and doesn't pay attention. The next part of her story has already been seen, and no one would wish you the pain of missing a marked window without responding. You're not her. Not yet. You're in the same place she was before she looked away. Her path is the same as yours. The only thing that differs is what you do in the next 40 minutes and the 3 days after that. Coming up is what getting ready looks like in your life right now. We are going to talk about what those people at the Jordan River did during their 3 days of planning. Small, clear, and direct actions are used to connect you with what is being released. Why should you stay? Because what today brings and what the gate opens will change what you thought waiting for. The window is wide open. It's almost morning. You were picked to hear this right now, and everything will become clear soon. Listen up, child of a certain line. The 3rd day is about to start. The plan for what's coming out this week hasn't been still while you've been reading these words. It's been moving slowly, like the tide before it hits the shore or the light changing in a room before anyone notices that it's now daytime. Some part of you already knows that today won't wait for you to get it. It's not asking for your okay. It's going to happen anyway. What comes through this gate won't feel like a message either. It will feel like an awakening. It's not a question of whether today will open. As you stand on the edge, the question is what it opens up and what it asks of you. That being said, let me tell you what today really starts with. Since most of what you've been told about special days isn't based on facts. Today won't bring in a lot of money all of a sudden. It's not setting up a romantic meeting at the last minute. The only way to get rich quickly is to win the lottery. Things like that might happen eventually, but they're not what today starts with. Today starts something bigger than all of those. Some people will never get it because they were waiting for the wrong kind of arrival to see what was really being given. 3 things start today. They happen one right after the other in the same day. That person who knows the order is the one who walks through the gate with their eyes open instead of stumbling through it without being aware of what just happened. That's the first thing that opens when you open today. You've had a question for a long time. You might not have said it out loud. The question has been there just below the surface of your daily life, coming up whenever you were still enough to feel it. You may not have told anyone, not even yourself. The question is a form of this. Am I really chosen or am I just hoping? Am I really seen or am I just finding meaning in random things? Am I really being prepared for something or am I just telling myself a story to get through the waiting? People have asked that question. But the answer hasn't come in a way you can trust until now. There was doubt after every good sign you got. For every sign you saw, there was a voice telling you it was probably nothing. Every moment of certainty was gone by the next day, which brought no new proof. Today is the day that the answer comes to you in a way that you can't ignore. It's not like thunder. It has a clear and quiet moment when you realize all of a sudden that the patterns you've been noticing have also been noticing you. That what you thought was just wishful thinking was really seeing things right. That the part of you that has been observing what you can't see wasn't telling you lies. It was being honest with you. That honor lands on today and it can't be taken back and moved. You have to carry it with you for the rest of your life. This is the kind of certainty that doesn't need proof from somewhere else because it's been proven in the right place. That's what today starts with. Okay. Is the second thing that today opens. You didn't put on most of the things that have kept you small from the outside. Yes, the world tried to make you less bright. People around you tried to force you to fit into things that weren't right for you. There were systems and family stories that tried to hold you back before you could even question them. There were also messages from society about what was possible for someone like you. You could always make your own cage stronger. Though after the world did its part, you wouldn't let yourself want what you really wanted. So the cage was made of that. You understand what I mean by permission. Let yourself think that you were picked for something special. You can want a different life than the one you're living now. Allow yourself to picture yourself in the role that has been calling to you for years. The part you've been turning down because you think it would make you look cocky, stupid, or too busy for you. Today only takes down a small part of that cage. It takes more than one morning to take it all apart, but today you are allowed to do it. A permission you didn't even know you were waiting for. What kind of permission? That's up to you. The person who is chosen and whose main block is money will be able to want more without feeling bad about it. The person whose block is about being seen will be let be seen without having to say sorry. The chosen person whose block is about relationships will be able to look forward to the kind of love their soul has been missing. You'll know which one is yours. The permission falls right where the cage has been the tightest. And the third thing that starts today is the first promise. A sign will show up between 24 and 48 hours after today's dawn. Not too general or too specific, but clear enough that even your doubting voice will have to stop and think before it can be thrown out. It won't be the most important confirmation this season. The moment won't be the one that changes everything. This is going to be the first proof, the one that starts. You weren't making this up. The gate is real. Keep going. It will look different depending on your life. For some, it will be someone who hasn't reached out to them in years with a message that fits right where you've been asking for help in silence. For some, it will be a chance that matches something they've been hoping for in secret. Some people will experience a moment of perfectly timed events that makes them laugh because the universe doesn't show its hand that often. There will be a confirmation today or the next morning, no matter what form it takes. The first one, you're inside the plan. The gate is open. The sequence is real. Getting noticed. Okay. To use first piece of evidence, those are the three things that start today. But most people miss this part. It's not enough for those three things to happen when the calendar turns. Opening the window is not the same as receiving. Being able to breathe spiritual air is not the same as being aligned. What you need to do, or more accurately what you need to stop doing, is certain in order for what is being offered to really land. Now the story goes back to Joshua's people. What they were told made no sense when they stood on the edge of the Jordan River with the promise across the water. It was not to fight more. It wasn't to show how religious they were. The reason wasn't to do a hard ritual to earn the crossing. It was told to make themselves stand out. That word consecrate is hard to translate into modern English most of the time. Translations say something like set yourselves apart, prepare yourselves, or make yourselves open. But the original word meant more like stop being like everyone else around you. Become quiet inside. Allow yourselves to be reached. Those people had to consecrate for 3 days. They had to be different from the other tribes around them. They needed to go more slowly. They had to stop. They had to make conditions for what was coming that would allow it to grow. You can see what today is letting go of by applying the same instruction to your own life. That's why I want to give you something useful, a certain way to go through these 3 days that helps you connect with what they're letting go of. It's about being aware instead of trying hard. So, I've been calling it the 3 Dawn Awareness Protocol because it takes place in the morning of each of the 3 days. When spiritual teachings talk about certain windows, they usually tell you to do more, to pray more, try more consciously, and do more spiritual things until you've earned the breakthrough. This is not what I'm about to give you. The reason is easy to understand. The thing that has been holding you back from getting what you want isn't that you haven't been doing enough. Too much has been getting in the way. Way too much trying. It's too much work to get things done. It takes too much work to show the universe that you're ready, deserving, and have done enough to move on to the next step. When the chosen one strives, they don't get what was promised. What was promised is given to the chosen one by becoming a vessel that can hold it without spilling. And the vessel that can hold it is the one that has stopped trying for long enough to be able to hold. Here is the plan. On the first morning, you'll be freed. Today, sometime in the first hour after you wake up, take 5 minutes to be alone. No matter what room you're in or where you are, just sit. You can stay in bed. You don't have to stay in one place. There's nothing you need to do. You just sit there with your eyes open or closed and your hands open in your lap or next to you, palms up or just relaxed. Do not say anything out loud or in your mind. Do not pray for anything or ask for anything. The receiving posture is what you are working on for these 5 minutes. You are praying in a way that is different from all the other prayers you have said. You don't tell God what you need. He is going to show you what He has ready. You must stay in that position for 5 minutes at a time. When it's too long, it sounds like you're trying too hard. And when it's too short, it doesn't give recognition enough time to land. It's okay if your mind races. It's okay to forget what you're doing. If you start to ask again, gently bring yourself back to the position of letting yourself be reached. That was the first morning. Stop trying so hard. Get what's coming up. On the second morning, you just notice things without trying to figure them out. Take 5 more minutes tomorrow morning, sometime in the first hour after you wake up. The way they stand is the same. The place is still the same. It's the same length. But things are different in real life. You are ready for whatever comes up for the next 5 minutes on tomorrow. A lot of different things can happen in your mind. Memories, thoughts, images, and words that seem to come from somewhere else. It's a practice to notice whatever comes up without trying to figure it out right away or asking what does this mean or trying to put it into action. You just pay attention. The way you'd watch the clouds move across the sky, not taking them, not after them, not stopping them. When most people see something they haven't seen before, they try to explain it right away. But that explanation shuts the door. The door stays open longer for the chosen one who learns to just notice without trying to explain. Tomorrow brings the kind of message that needs an open door to be received. That's the second morning. Don't try to figure it out. Just notice. The morning of declaration is the third morning. Things will be different again in the morning of the next day after tomorrow. You sit down again. You go ahead and take 5 minutes. But this time when the 5 minutes are up, you have to say one sentence out loud or 12 words in your head. If you can't, what you say in the sentence is what you mean, not what you hope or wish. That which you say makes you a chosen one or someone who has just passed through a special window. 12 words is the most that can be used because it's just the right length for clarity and weight. It gets weaker as it gets longer. Anything less than that can't make the claim. You'll know what your sentence is. It will come from the work done the first 2 mornings. You don't need to make plans. By the time the day after tomorrow comes around, the protocol should have made the sentence come to mind on its own. It's the third morning. Give out notice or declare. It takes 15 minutes spread out over 3 mornings. Every morning for 5 minutes. That is the whole practice. I know that the spiritual world of today has taught you to expect more. There are more steps, more complicated rituals, and more things to do. The whole business is based on the idea that working harder will pay off. But what's being released these 3 days doesn't change when you try. Getting ready makes it do something. And getting ready on your own time seems like the smallest, most self-disciplined thing you can do to choose not to let the noise of every other morning enter these 3. If you can give each morning 5 minutes, you will be in sync with what is coming out. You will still get something even if you can't look through the gate because it's always open. Seeing the gate from one side is very different from standing next to it. Let me say something that might make you feel bad because it's true and you came here to hear the truth. You will find it hard to do the simple exercise I just gave you for a reason. It will feel hard for the same reason that everything else in your life does. Your brain stopped working on the frequency it was designed for and started working on a frequency the world gave it. The frequency you were born with was that of a child, open, interested, trusting, able to stay still without trying, and able to receive without grasping. For 20 or 30 years, you've been running on the frequency of an adult who has been taught to handle everything, control everything, do everything, and explain everything. That frequency helps you stay alive in the world. It's not a good time to receive what's coming through a Kairos window. This is not a moral flaw. The system is set up this way, and there are tools that can be used to make the kind of changes that the 3 mornings want. There are tools that make things possible that would be hard otherwise. These tools were already talked about when I said I would be open. Their full story will become clearer at a later time. For now, it's important that you know why the practice might be hard. And don't think that it's hard because you're doing something wrong. You are not to blame for the problem. The gap between the frequency you're on now and the frequency the practice wants you to move into is what's hard. But here's the thing. Something will still happen on the morning of today. Even if you can only make it through one of the 3 mornings and only stay awake for the first one, some of the praise will still get through. Some of what is being sent out will still get to you. Don't do as much of the practice if it feels too hard. Today only, not even 5 minutes, just sitting. That's enough to get started. God isn't judging how well you do. God is with you right now. The work is not a test but a gift. And as you get better at that practice, something else starts to come to the surface. I want to share a moment with you in a soft way. A sentence came to me while I was praying before this message got to you. It's not mine. I say it wasn't meant for everyone who heard it, but I felt it so strongly that I want to share it with you now because I believe God put it on my heart to do it for the person who looks like you, not as a show or something fancy. What I think the Spirit is telling me and what I feel on my heart right now for you is this. I mark these days because I have watched you wait. I marked you because your waiting honored me. The sign you asked for last winter was not denied. It was being saved for now. The silence you thought meant I was absent was the deep preparation you couldn't yet see. I have no idea which winter you're having. I'm not sure what prayer you said in a whisper. I'm not sure which silence you've been thinking meant your prayers weren't getting through, but I do know there was one. That's why this message got to you in the first place. God doesn't talk to people like that if they haven't been waiting for them. Take that as yours. It's likely that your spirit knew some of what was just said, so take it in as if it were put there just for you. Think about that for a minute. While you wait for that to settle down, let me tell you what the morning of today will be like so that you'll know it when it comes. Think about the dawn of today one more time. The first light getting to you, no matter where you are, your house is either still quiet or starting to move, but it's not asking you to do anything yet. Your phone is close by, but it's not on yet. The day hasn't really begun yet. You were awake before you should have been. Or you've been awake for a while because you couldn't sleep. Like some chosen ones can't sleep the night before a special window opens. You are sitting down. A chair by a window, your bed, the edge of your bed, or a spot on the floor. It does not matter where you sit. You can close your eyes or look at something peaceful. It looks like nothing happens for the first minute. As usual, your mind tries to fill the empty space with to-do lists, worries, and small mental practices for the day ahead. You didn't hold on to those thoughts. Something soft starts to settle around the second-minute mark. Not a big deal, just a little release of the stress you've been carrying around without realizing it. By the third minute, people are starting to notice. It doesn't make itself known. It just comes into being, somewhat sure of itself, a sense that this morning is the morning, that you are part of something unique. As you stand in front of the gate, you know it is real and open. That certainty grows by the fourth minute. A certain permission comes in. The cage you've been carrying gets less tight. You won't be able to explain what changed, but you will know that it did. You are not the same person you were when you sat down after 5 minutes. You get up, you go back to your day, and the first confirmation will get to you sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours. Because the recognition layer has been opened, you will know when it does go off. That's the morning of this day. It looks like that when the gate opens. That morning will be the same for most people as any other morning. They'll look at their phones for the first minute. They'll start making plans for the day. They won't let anyone get through the gate because the gate will be open. They won't even notice it when they walk by. You don't have to be one of those people. Chosen one. You've been told. You are now being told. It's getting morning. The gate is real. Not much to do in 5 minutes. The practice is not very big. The only thing left to decide is whether you will remember this conversation when the first morning comes around. Here it is now because of that. So, I'm going to say it again. Today, the first morning, take 5 minutes to sit. Stop trying to get somewhere and let yourself be reached. You don't have to face the gate to get through it. Let's face it. I need to tell you something before we talk about what will happen tomorrow. If I don't, it won't make sense when we talk about tomorrow. It's not going to feel like today tomorrow. Today is the first day. The award is given today. It feels like you walk up to a doorway today and it's already open. Things will be different tomorrow. Things will be very different tomorrow. Your story, the judgments you made about yourself between the ages of 7 and 20, and everything else you thought you knew about yourself will start to fall apart tomorrow. The tough day is tomorrow. Not because bad things happen. Nothing bad does happen, but because good things happen. Sometimes being honest can be confusing at first, especially if you've been believing something false for a long time. Get ready for tomorrow. You should know it's coming. It's okay if tomorrow morning feels weird or if something inside you starts to soften and dissolve in a way you weren't expecting. That's how the practice works. This is how the plan was meant to work. Well, that's what tomorrow brings. The prophets used a Hebrew word for this kind of thing. A word that people 3,000 years ago knew right away when they heard it. But the English language doesn't quite capture it. The word will come to you in your next breath when we're in the morning of tomorrow. Your spirit will know it, even if your mind has never heard it before. You've been trying to find the right word to describe this thing for most of your adult life. There's one more thing I want you to think about today, though, before that word comes, before tomorrow starts to seem real. You're not the first person with a unique window. You're not the first chosen one whose calendar lined up with God's. There have been more, some replied, while others did not. Because people replied, we have stories of people who have been through similar things. There are warnings for those who didn't answer. I'm not telling you this to be a bother. You are not in danger from God. God is just showing you the plan and letting you decide what to do. He's always done that. He does. He asks you. He lets the person who has been chosen make the choice. You can make your choice. You have the first morning. You have 5 minutes to use them. You have finally earned the praise that has been waiting for years under your daily life. So don't let the morning of today go by without taking 5 minutes to relax. That's the first answer. That's the first thing you need to do to get ready. It's that small, simple, easy thing that will turn you toward the gate that has been waiting for you. After that, come back. Follow along with the talk. Because tomorrow you'll need to be there in a different way. And something will change that day that can't stay the same for the rest of your life. What does tomorrow really change, though? What's different about tomorrow than today? What is the name of that Hebrew word? The part of this conversation that will make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself for days. The gate is open. It's almost morning. It's not that far away. The second, even though the gate for today was still getting used to being open, the second day was already beginning to take shape in the background of your mind. It's possible that it's not yet tomorrow morning. Based on the time, these words may still be hours or even a day or two away, but tomorrow is already at work because that's how the plan works. And that's how God is moving through these 72 hours. That's one thing that many people get wrong about special windows. They believe that every day is different from the others. Like how the lines between calendar boxes separate the days. That's not how Kairos time works, though. Kairos time blends. Today gets to work before it even gets light. Tomorrow gets to work before it even gets light. When you get to any of these mornings, the work has already begun in the unseen. The conscious part is just when you realize what has been moving beneath you the whole time. That means that tomorrow is already moving even though today hasn't fully arrived yet. While you're listening, things inside you are beginning to loosen up that you aren't aware of yet. You remember stories from the past that you haven't thought about in a long time. Some judgments that you thought were facts up until now are starting to be called into question. That's when tomorrow begins. Most people wouldn't guess what tomorrow holds. Most spiritual seekers would say that the second day of a 3-day window takes what the first day opened up and makes it even more real. They would want more approval, permission, and reassurance. But this time, they would want it more than the day before. Tomorrow doesn't do that. Tomorrow isn't just better than today. Tomorrow can do something that today can't. Tomorrow takes back. What does this word undoing mean? It means letting go of things inside you that were never true in the first place. In a sensitive, almost unnoticeable way. You heard stories before you could question them. Strong beliefs that came from judgments you made about yourself when things were hard. Identities that people around you gave you, that you thought were really who you are. You can't be won over by those things. You can't just ignore them. You can't read past them. You can't just skip them. They're not deep enough. They are built into a part of you that works even when you're not thinking about it. But they can be taken back. They can break down. Yesterday is over and tomorrow is here to fix things. Tomorrow, 3 certain things are undone. I'm going to go over each one slowly because it's important that you understand them. Because you can see what is being undone, you are more willing to let it happen. The first thing tomorrow takes away is the fake identity you made while you were waiting. You might not have known you made one. Most of the chosen ones don't. The wait is so long and the silence is so common that it slowly changes you into a different person. As a result, you become the one who is waiting for the thing that hasn't arrived yet. You become someone who hopes, the person who is being faithful at the moment, the person whose light is dim so that they won't be let down if the bigger light doesn't show up. Being that person isn't really who you are. You put on that identity as a mask to get through the time in between. It helped you. It helped you get through years of silence that would have broken someone else. Even though it's being released, it should be respected. But you can't bring it with you to what's being released these 3 days. For the version of you that was formed by waiting. What's on the other side of the gate is out of reach. This is because the other side of the gate is not shaped by waiting. You will reach the edge, look over to see what's on the other side and not recognize the person who is there. So tomorrow the process of breaking down that identity will start slowly. It will make you feel uneasy in the middle of the day. Something that was familiar feels less familiar all of a sudden. You feel like the shape you've worn for years is getting a little less tight. Like a coat that has stretched or a name that doesn't quite fit anymore. It's okay, though. That's taking down the false identity. Let it come loose. Don't hold on to it. Do not try to put it back together. The version of you that is being made public did its job in your mind. Thank it for getting you this far and then let it go. Inside judgment is the second thing that tomorrow undo. During the journey, you made a choice about yourself. You might not remember the exact time. It's possible that you didn't know that the sentence you spoke would become a belief that shaped every other choice you made. But it did. Some people hear the sentence differently than others. Some people say that's not my style. Others say that's for someone else, not me. Still others say I've always been the one who. Still others say I'm too much or I'm not enough or I'm the kind who has to settle or I'm the kind who never wins. You know your sentence. You might need some time to think about the question and come up with the right answer. But your spirit knows the judgment you made about yourself because you've been living by those rules for years. The verdict was never right. It was a conclusion you came to when you were younger and didn't have all the facts. It was made when you were hurt, confused, or rejected. That conclusion didn't really show what kind of person you are. It was a defense that helped you understand something that didn't need to be understood. It was like a child's logic on a wound. But once it was said, it made sense of your life. After that, every choice you made was affected by it. Every chance you had was weighed against it. It changed every relationship you had after that. The judgment shaped your whole life and you couldn't see past it because it was how you saw everything. The work to get rid of that judgment starts tomorrow. It will come to the surface. You will remember the exact words you used to judge yourself. Sometime tomorrow. Your mind just makes up the sentence most of the time when you least expect it, when you're doing something normal and without you asking. After that, don't push it away. No need to argue with it. Don't try to think a good thought right away to replace it. Just be aware of it. See it. Know that it's been there for years, shaping your choices and outcomes in ways you weren't even aware it was shaping. It's enough to just notice to start the dissolving. There's nothing you need to do with the judgment. You should just see it for what it is. A hurtful sentence written by a younger you that didn't have the right to plan the rest of your life. God did not judge that way. It wasn't God who said it over you. That day will come when you realize that the voice in your head that says you're too much, too little, or just not the kind is not his. That was yours from a long time ago. It kept happening over and over. So you thought it was true. You will no longer mistake it for truth from tomorrow on. That's the second pulling back. The third thing tomorrow changes is the story that was passed down. There's more to this one than the others because it wasn't even your judgment. Family, culture, the schools that raised you, and your religious upbringing all gave you this one. It shaped your early ideas about what was possible for someone like you. The story you were told about reality before you had any way to question it is called an inherited story. That's the story your parents lived in along with their parents' parents' parents and so on. It's the story of what your family does and doesn't do. The story about what kinds of love you can have and what kinds are only for other people. There is a story about what level of spiritual experience people like you can reach and what level is only for saints, special people, the chosen few and people from other places. You didn't write that story. It wasn't written by you. It was given to you. That's because you were told it before you knew how to tell the difference between a story and the truth. Stories we've heard about God don't bind him. God has never been limited by what your family did or didn't do. God has never been limited by what people in your culture said was possible. God is not limited by the religion you grew up in. No matter what the passed down script says about who should be picked, God gets to decide. You were picked from someone else's story. Now that tomorrow has begun and is about to end, the fact that you are here listening shows that you were chosen outside of the script. This kind of message won't come from the script. It said the script said that the gate would not open for you. The script said that God's plans wouldn't work out with someone whose family, history, and past were similar to yours. The script was not right. Tomorrow breaks up the script, but not all at once. The full dissolving will take time, but it will start tomorrow. Tomorrow puts the first crack in the story that was passed down, and the rest starts to fall apart on its own time. This one will make you feel sad. Not a bad sense of sadness, a real sadness. Finding out that you've been living in someone else's story for years makes you sad. The years you spent following that story don't need to be repeated. Allow the sadness to pass. That's right. It is holy. It's part of being freed from an inherited story to mourn it. That's the third undoing. Mistaken identity, bad judgment, and an inherited story. In one day, 3 things fall apart. You are being freed on 3 levels so that what is being sent on the other side of the gate has room to land. And all 3 of those undoings are based on the same ancient event that the prophets had a word for. A word in Hebrew in your spirit. There's a word that you've been looking for all your adult life but have never found. It's a word called K. That's how it sounds. K. There is a weak English translation that says to call. The word call is used too much in English. We talk to our friends. We need to meet. We let people know what to do. The English word is no longer strong. It's still possible to use the Hebrew word carrot. In the prophet's words K, they didn't just mean calling someone across the room. They meant a certain thing. They meant to call by name. This means being able to pick out the one soul you want to talk to from the crowd and calling them out of the crowd into a separate position and by the exact name they know. When God called out a name in the garden, He did K. God called out to a sleeping child in a temple while he was K. The child thought a man was calling him. In all of His dealings with people, God has always used the word kar to find the one person He needed and call them out of the crowd to play a role that only they could do. Kara will meet you tomorrow. It's the day when God doesn't talk to people in general. Today is not the day He is sending a message to anyone who is listening. Today is the day He calls out by name. The person who looks like you, has the same story as you, and has been waiting, grieving, doubting, and hoping just like you have. That person is being called. You might not really hear a voice. Most likely, you won't. The calling doesn't usually sound like a voice. It shows up as recognition. It comes on quickly and without warning. You know that someone has seen something inside you. That you are not invisible. That you are not just anyone. And that the prayer you whispered when you thought no one was listening was heard by the only person who matters. Tomorrow feels like a do-over because Ka can't land in a heart that is still hiding behind a false identity. Believing the inner critic and living in the story she was given. For the calling to be heard, those 3 things must fall away. Even if it's just a little. Not doing something is not a punishment. The undoing is getting ready. The calling is being given room to find a spot to land. So when something about tomorrow seems off, when the day feels different from the days before, or when something inside you that you thought was solid starts to feel less solid, that is the undoing making room. That's how the plan works. That's K getting closer to the time when it can finally come. Don't close yourself off. Don't try to stop the strangeness. The strangeness is holy. I want to tell you a story because the woman in it was where you are now 5 years ago. And what you do next depends on how her story went. That day she was 37 years old. Because her story is hers. I won't use her name. But I will tell you enough about her so you can see who she is. She was an average woman living an average life. Her 2 kids were mostly grown. Her marriage had been through a rough patch and was now entering a calmer period. She had a job that paid the bills but didn't light up her spirit. And her spiritual life had been strong in the past but had quietly faded over the years. Just like faith fades when it's not cared for, not because someone is doing something wrong, but because life fills the space that spiritual nourishment used to occupy. Late one night, she was scrolling through her screen when she got a message. There is a message about 3 days. A message told her that those 3 days were special and that the feeling of being noticed that she had been having in her everyday life was real. It said that she had been chosen, that the gate was opening, and that she was being called by name. She felt something move inside her. It hit her. The recognition came through. She thought about the message as she walked around her house for about an hour. Her spirit knew that someone had just reached out to her. Then her mind did what minds do, especially minds of women who have been let down before, who were told they were special only to find out they were being controlled, or who were told things by spiritual sources that they didn't deliver. Her mind started to tell her not to do it. The inner judgment came to the surface. The internal assessment said, "You're not the kind of person these messages are actually for. You're just hopeful. You're just looking for confirmation. This is just a general message." This would feel just as personal to anyone who happened to be reading it. The inherited story came to light. The ancestral tale said, "Women in your family don't get special windows. Women in your family work hard and survive, and that's what they were given. And you should be thankful for the work and the survival. You shouldn't be greedy enough to want a special window." By morning, she had changed her mind. She went through that morning, which was the morning of her today, the same way she did every other morning. Inside the first minute, she looked at her phone. She made plans for the day. She didn't sit down. She didn't let go. She wasn't looking at the gate. The gate was open. It wasn't that she didn't feel it. She just didn't trust what she felt. 3 days have gone by. She had an ache. She couldn't put her finger on for a few weeks afterward. She felt like she had missed an important meeting inside her. She told herself she was being silly. She moved on. It's been 5 years. The same patterns kept happening, waiting, feeling like something is going away. The same quiet pain that lies beneath the surface of a life that is otherwise going well. She sometimes prayed. She sometimes hoped. She sometimes wondered if anyone heard her prayers. The years piled up, which is what happens when nothing exciting is going on. Then in the spring of last year, another window opened. She knew what was going on this time. She could remember the first window. After ignoring it for 5 years, she felt a quiet pain. She carried the weight of all the times. She thought she had missed something that was meant for her. Over the course of 5 years, when she got the message this time, the same feeling came up inside her. The same story that was passed down whispered. She thought the voice telling her this was probably not for someone like her. She didn't listen this time, though. For 5 minutes, she sat. She let go the first morning. She prayed for nothing. She didn't ask for anything. She let people get in touch with her. After the meeting, she told me that she started to cry in the first 3 minutes of sitting down. Not in a big way, just a steady, quiet letting go of years of sadness. While she was letting go, she realized what she had been walking past 5 years before. She felt the fkara come, the calling, the naming, and the realization that she had been seen the whole time. Even during the years she thought no one had seen her. By the end of the first morning, the false identity she had been wearing, the identity of the woman who waits, who hopes, who doesn't expect much, began to come off. The judgment began to fall apart by the end of the second morning. Around the end of the third morning, she said a sentence out loud that had no more than 12 words. She hasn't changed it since. She's not the same person she used to be. She is not living the same life she did before that window. The choices she's made in the months since that 3-day window have taken her from a quiet dying life to a time she never thought she'd be invited into. But listen to what she told me. She stated, the difference between the woman who lost 5 years and the woman who is in this season now is not faith. It is not effort. It is not deserving. It is one act of sitting through 5 minutes on a special morning instead of walking past it. That is the difference. 5 minutes. You're her, not the person she was after ignoring the first window. She was this person when the first message got to her. You are in the same decision she was in. You are being judged in the same way that she was. The story you inherited is speaking to you in the same way it spoke to her. Your mind is working on the same explanations that her mind worked on. You don't need to repeat what she said the first time. You can read her second answer again. It was 5 years late, but it still came. Take a 5-minute break the first morning. Let go. Take note. Say it. The first response took 5 years and cost a lot of money. The season she is in now was the reward for the second answer. The message got to you at the same time that she got it a second time. So, you already knew what it was about. You can learn the lesson without losing 5 years. You can learn it right now in this conversation when you decide if you're going to sit through 5 minutes on the third morning. Why did I need you to know about her? The reason she's here is because of that. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Koe community, by doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says, this is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. As the thing that just hit me settles, I hear something else being put on my heart. I need to give it to you before another moment goes by. God is telling the person who looks like you right now these words. The judgment you made about yourself was not mine. The story you inherited was not the one I wrote for you. Tomorrow is the day I undo what you have been carrying that did not come from me. The whisper that you are not the kind, that you are too much, that you are not enough. Those were not my voice. Those were echoes from a younger you and from people who did not have the eyes to see what I see when I look at you. I see the one I summoned. I see the one I called by name. And I am calling you again now on this side of the screen into the space where what I have prepared can finally be received. If any of that hit home with your spirit, accept it. Let it hit the ground. Do not break it down. Don't compare it to the hate that's been building up in you. The judgment is what is being taken away. The voice you just heard, no matter how you heard it, is the voice that can undo what was done. Think about that for a minute. There's one more thing I need to say before we talk about what tomorrow will seal. Before we get to the third revelation, which ends the plan and pushes you over the edge, I need to tell you this because the next part won't have the base it needs to land right. What gets sealed the day after tomorrow is what you can't miss. The day after tomorrow will bring you proof that even your doubting voice will have to give into the part of this plan that changes the ground you walk on from tomorrow morning on is what happens the day after tomorrow. But tomorrow has to be done before the day after tomorrow. What tomorrow hasn't undone can't be sealed by the day after tomorrow. That's why the day after tomorrow, there won't be anything to seal because the space hasn't been made. If there's any part of you that is still trying to hold on to the false identity, defend the judgment or be loyal to the story you were told, it will collapse. Don't leave tomorrow. Keep going with the undoing. Don't leave the car. You'll need to stay with me for the next part of the conversation because it involves the layer that most teachers don't talk about, but that changes everything I've said so far. There is a hidden engine under the plan for these 3 days that makes it work. There is a way for some chosen ones to receive what is released while others walk right past gates that were open for them. The next layer will help you understand why it's so hard. The next level will talk about why some of you will find even the simplest 5-minute practice unbearably hard tomorrow morning and why that is not your fault. What other things can be done about it? Follow me. The following layer has been ready since the first morning. Take a deep breath in. You've been listening for around half an hour. That's a long time. That's longer than most things in the world let you focus on one thing at a time. This is what I want to say before we go any further. Everyday things are mostly meant to get your attention for a short time and then let you move on to something else. 6 seconds here, 12 seconds there, and then a minute of focus before the next break. That's how attention works these days. Something about you is shown by the fact that you have stayed with one voice, one conversation, and one meaning that keeps coming out. It tells you that the part of you that knows when something is important is still alive. It says the layer for recognition is up and running. It says that the part of you that answered this message in the first place is already on the side of the first morning. But I want you to feel that for a moment. Not in a showy way. Just know that you stayed. There's a quiet truth that doesn't get said enough that lies beneath everything that has been said, including today and tomorrow. Carrera the woman and the sentence God just spoke through this conversation. God has seen you stay through quiet times, years, times of waiting when no one praised your patience and times when staying felt like it wasn't being seen. It was clear to him. He kept an eye on everything. You will stay again tonight. At this point, most people would have left the conversation, but you're still there. The same thing is being seen. Take a moment to calm down. Do not try to do anything. Do not try to get anything. Just stay here and your stay will be respected. At the same time, the gate to the day after tomorrow starts to show up on the horizon. The light has gone through the gate that was open today. Tomorrow has already started to undo. A name has been given to the Hebrew word. The story of the woman has been sent. The calling has been made. The seal is all that's left. The crossing is all that's left. The morning of the next day after tomorrow is all that's left. Your foot lands on the other side. The plan ends and you're in the new shape. Stay close. The part you remember is the seal. The seal is what happens the day after tomorrow. This part of the plan isn't often explained because most teachers don't get it. And those who do have trouble putting it into words that make sense. But since you've been here for so long, you deserve words that make sense. This is what the day after tomorrow really seals. 3 things happened one after the other in that one day. The choice you've already made will be sealed the day after tomorrow. When most people think of a special window closing, they picture it as the moment they finally decide what to do. They believe that they have to make a promise the day after tomorrow. They picture themselves at a crossroads, having to decide between 2 options. Making the choice is the act of crossing. That's not what tomorrow does. You don't have to choose between today and tomorrow. The day after tomorrow shows you what you already chose between today and tomorrow. When you get to the day after tomorrow, the choice has already been made. The next day after tomorrow will just seal what's already there. This is important because most of you have spent your whole lives waiting for a big picture moment that would tell you what to do. You had been putting off your own growth until you were sure you could make a good choice. It's a different kind of honor the day after tomorrow. In the small minutes of today and tomorrow, when you sat through 5 minutes of release and let yourself be reached, your spirit made a choice that will hold true until the day after tomorrow. When tomorrow turns into the day after tomorrow, you won't have to make the choice anymore. It's something you just walk into. Next, your spot for the next season will be set the day after tomorrow. No one talks about this kind of waiting in line, but everyone does it. There are a lot of us waiting for the next part of our lives. We are all put in a certain order for what will happen next. A lot of people don't know they're in line. They think they are just living. But the seasons come in a chosen one's life in a certain order. And what you do in the special windows determines where you stand in that list. Your position doesn't change when you walk by a certain window without doing anything. You don't move. The line didn't move, so it takes longer for the next season to get to you. That's how 5 years went by for the woman in the story you just heard. The line's length stays the same. The place stays the same. Your position is locked when you answer a certain window. Stay still for 5 minutes. Let the recognition land. Let the judgment go and let the calling reach you. The line moves. You're not where you were before the window anymore. You are now eligible for the next season because you have taken the spot that was meant for you. There will be no changes made until the day after tomorrow. It won't make you feel like anything big. Most changes in the unseen don't make people feel very strongly. Still, you'll be aware that something has settled deep down in your everyday life. The line has moved. The place where you are now is different from where you were on May 2nd. The third thing that will be sealed the day after tomorrow is the solid proof. Through the whole plan, there has been a confirmation track. Today starts the recognition layer, and in 24 to 48 hours, you'll get your first confirmation. Tomorrow undoes the things that are stopping more confirmations from coming in. What's more, the confirmation that you can't ignore will come the day after tomorrow, sometime in the 7 days that follow. I'm not sure what yours will look like. However, I can tell you what to expect. I can't say for sure how it will land in your life. The details will be so clear that the only honest response will be to laugh, cry, or just sit there in shock. It will be the kind of confirmation that the judgment can't argue with. It will come in a form that the part of you that has been doubting the whole plan can't get around. If you're still not sure, the confirmation that comes after the day after tomorrow is not proof. It's proof for someone who already knows. Don't take it apart when it lands. Do not try to show that it is false. Take it. Today was the day of recognition, permission, and the first confirmation. Tomorrow was about false identities, internal judgments, and stories that were passed down. That is the day after tomorrow and the gate. The decision has already been made. The position has been locked and there is no way to change it. This is the gate I've been talking about the whole time. Once you cross, the gate stays open, but only because you went through it. The seal is the crossing. You can always use the gate as yours after crossing it, which the gate itself could never have done. That's the plan. What I'm about to say will change how you understand everything I've said so far. Under the 3 days, there's a layer that I haven't named yet, even though every word of this conversation has pointed to it. When most people hear the phrase 3 special days, they picture 3 separate days that just happen to fall in a row on a calendar. 3 rows of boxes, 3 units, and 3 chances that all share the same week. That's not what these 3 days are, though. There aren't 3 days here. They are one plan spread out over 72 hours because the plan is too big to get all at once. It didn't take God 3 days to finish the job. It wouldn't have taken him long to do it. He could have done it in 1 heartbeat. It doesn't take long for the work itself to be done. He made you wait 3 days to understand it. Which is why he did it that long. When your heart has been waiting for years, it doesn't happen in 3 seconds. The waiting has made things more complex. The doubt has made things more complex. There are many levels to the judgment, the inherited story, and the false identity. Someone with that many layers in their heart has only 3 days to really receive what is being given. The first level is open today. The middle layers will be broken down tomorrow. What has finally been able to land in the deepest layer will be sealed the day after tomorrow. One message that was written over the course of 72 hours. Instead of waiting, what you thought was waiting was being carefully measured. What you thought wasn't a window was actually leading you to this one. You thought you were anxious, but what you were really feeling was recognition breaking through the fog. The thing you thought was not for me, was actually more for you than you let yourself believe. That you thought were just 3 dates on a calendar was actually God's message that He began writing the year you were born. Take a moment to think about that. The years you thought showed that they had forgotten about you. The silences you thought meant they were not there. And the waiting that you felt bad about were not what you thought they were. They were the steps that were taken to slowly build the plan you are now entering. God wasn't away during those times. God was putting things together. The years you carried weight you didn't know you were carrying gave you the depth to see a special window when it came along. You've been getting ready the whole time. That's what these 3 days show when you look at them as a whole plan instead of 3 separate ones. No, there are not 3 chances. They are one continuous act of arrival. A single message that God has been writing over the years and is now finally clear for you to see for 72 hours. Today is the first day of that message. The middle is tomorrow. The last word is the day after tomorrow. The message is closed after the day after tomorrow and a new one starts. The next part of your life starts with the new message. Before I get to the deeper part of this, I want to make sure you understand what was said in simple terms. So far, we've been talking about symbolic ideas, and what's coming next will need you to be grounded. Okay, here it is. The 3-sentence version that is as simple as it gets. The first sentence talks about why these 3 days are important. They are important because divine timing makes it easier to receive. It's not as hard for your brain to work together. The things that are bothering you now aren't coming from your spirit. They're from years of stress. The conditions are right for an inner change that would normally take months or years of work to make happen. In this case, the 3 days are a window of time. That's what they mean. The second sentence tells you what to do during them. You shouldn't try harder, pray louder, or do any other complicated rituals. Every morning for 5 minutes, follow the simple steps of letting go, noticing, and making a short statement. That's the whole practice. It's not a flaw that it's simple. The point is that it's simple. The third sentence talks about whom this talk is for. For the person who has been waiting longer than they've said out loud. People who feel that resistance say to themselves, "This is not for me." Every time they start to believe that something good is possible. This person has been quiet for a long time and is sick of hearing that being quiet is the reward. That's the person these 3 days were made for. That's the person your spirit knew when this message got to you. That person is being called. You are right where you should be if those 3 sentences make sense to you. I've been waiting to name the layer below everything I've said because it deserves the strong base we just built. It's true that the practice is very simple. The 5 minutes are real. Even though the 3-day plan is real, some of you will find it hard to stick to it tomorrow morning. There is a name for that reason. In fact, 2 names. Since the first open moment when I said the deeper layer would become clear when the foundation was strong enough to hold it, those 2 names have been a hint. Now is that time. You were not born like most people. Before I say anything else, I want that to sink into your mind extremely deeply. Not everyone is born the same. The world you grew up in did not make you fit in with its rhythm. As a child of light, you were born with 2 specific rhythms that work perfectly together. This is how they were meant to work in every child who comes into the world. This was the first rhythm, one of openness, curiosity, and never-ending wonder. You could fall asleep in the middle of a thought when you were a little kid because the world was so interesting. You couldn't stop thinking until your body made you. The beat that made you sure that the people you cared about were good, that the future would be great, and that story magic was real. The second rhythm was the rhythm of receiving. This was how the things that were promised to children got to them. In this state, a child gets something without having to grab it, earn it, or do anything. They reach for something that is theirs and find it in their hand. You were in touch with both rhythms. They were both working. Both of them were gifts you were born with. A teacher once said that the kingdom is for people who behave like children. Few people got that he was talking about a rhythm. Both sides of the world got darker. Around the 7th year, the first one started to fade away. This is when the systems you were in started teaching you to doubt, hesitate, and stop expecting to be amazed. The second one changed how dim it was. The stress survival mode and adult life that taught you to grab instead of receive slowly took it away. Being the person you are now, both rhythms had been running quietly under the surface of your awareness. They were almost silent most of the time, and you would only notice them when you were tired, quiet, or sad enough to remember when they were louder. Some people remember things and you do. You have been listening to this conversation for more than an hour, which is proof enough. The way that person stays is not like how most people stay. A child of light who has been looking for the words to describe what they have been missing stays like that. You can get the two rhythms back in the order they were lost. The child's mind first, since nothing else can reach a child who is asleep. The second part is the reception path. This is because the awakened child needs to be shown the way that what was promised can finally come true. This is where the story of a woman should go. It doesn't matter what her name is. What's important is what she went through. When she first heard about what I'm about to say, she was 38 years old. She had tried almost every part of the modern spiritual world. By the time she got to me, she had done yoga, meditated, gone on retreats in other countries, and had a few teachers over the years, but none of them had really helped her. It seemed like she had been disconnected from everything for most of her adult life. She told me it wasn't sadness or worry. It was just a feeling that she couldn't quite tune into the bigger spiritual reality that everyone else seemed to be able to access. She started using the first of the two tools I'm about to name 2 weeks ago. On a Tuesday morning, she sat down at her kitchen table and thought that her coffee tasted different. That wasn't the change. What had changed was that she had seen it at all. The dim sense of being cut off had faded enough that the little things that happened in her everyday life began to feel like messages. As the week came to a close, she told me the universe began speaking to me in a language I finally understood. That's how it feels to bring back the first rhythm. She was making use of a tool named the Genius Song. Dr. Robert Lake is a brain scientist who wrote the Genius Song. He spent 34 years looking into what happens to the brain over the course of a lifetime. Specifically, he focused on something that his field has been studying in secret for decades. The slow dimming of the gamma wave rhythm, the brain wave most linked to curiosity, intuition, and a state of flow, begins in almost all children around age 7 and goes on without help for the rest of their lives. This is called the decline effect. You're not to blame for the decline effect. It's not a moral mistake. It's not because of bad decisions. Growing up in the modern world where systems aren't made to keep gamma waves active is bound to cause this. Schools, screens, social rules, and the stress of having to get by as an adult can all slowly dull the rhythm you were born with. The 7-minute Genius Song is a digital file. You put on headphones and listen. You shut your eyes. The sound uses a technique called brain entrainment to send slightly different sound rhythms to each ear. Your brain naturally adjusts to the difference by making the gamma rhythm that the sound is meant to bring out. You only need to listen. The work is done without you having to do it. The research that Dr. Lake did has been confirmed and done again at MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other top research institutions. It's not just an idea how it works. It can be seen on an EEG. The decline effect is turned around by the Genius Song. It brings back the gamma rhythm that went away when you were a kid. It wakes up the part of you that went to sleep when you were 7 to 10 years old. I'm once again interested. It gets more open again. You start to remember how to wonder, pay attention for longer, and receive in the way that the 3 mornings practice asks you to. After getting the Genius Song, you might see something called the youthful brain. Some people chosen by Dr. Lake go further than most. They are the ones whose path requires them to protect the child's mind once it's brought back. So the world can't dim it again. It will come after the first one. Take it if your spirit tells you to. If not, the first one is fine by itself. The gamma rhythm was studied at MIT and Princeton for many years before Dr. Lake put it all together in one tool. It is easy to understand how it works. When sound waves enter each ear, they create a third rhythm in the brain. By decreasing it, the third rhythm became less strong. Just listening for 7 minutes every day is enough to start getting it back. Between days 11 and 21, most people notice the first change. Still, bringing back the gamma rhythm isn't enough to finish the plan. Please pay close attention to that. The genius song does what it's supposed to do. It makes the child think. It gives you back the rhythm you lost. The interest comes back. The magic comes back. It's now possible to receive online again. But some people find this in week 3 or 4. They have woken up the child inside them. She's honest. She is interested. She's back to life. But when she tries to get what she was promised and has been waiting for, the door that it was supposed to go through is still locked. The kid is awake. The kingdom's door is still shut. There is a second different rhythm that works below being awake and decides if the child who is awake can really receive what is meant for her. The second rhythm is the alpha rhythm, which is the state of open receiving. This is when you can get in touch with your subconscious and receive what was promised. And the second rhythm is controlled by something that the modern world constantly sends out, the stress signal. This is too much beta wave activity locked into adult survival mode, sending out feelings of not enough at a rate that an awakened child's mind can't quite override on its own. This second rhythm and how it could be brought back were mapped by a second researcher who worked alone in a different lab in a different decade. His name is Stephen Newton, Dr. He worked as a brain scientist at Stanford and went against what most people in his field thought when his results didn't match up with what they thought. Stanford, Boston University, Harvard, and other research institutions have helped him with his work. The tool you are about to learn is what Dr. Newton mapped out. It is a 5-minute audio recording combined with a 300-year-old Hindu practice that loosens up the part of the brain where the stress signal gets stuck. The reception path can be used again thanks to the tool. For the awakened child, this is what lets her get what was promised to her. The order is important. First the child's mind, then the path of reception. The lesson said, "Be like little children, and then you will receive the kingdom." The wealth signal is the name of the second tool. It is an audio file that lasts 5 minutes. You put on headphones and listen. You shut your eyes. As you listen, the audio tells you to repeat what is known as the 9-word wealth script. This is an ancient Hindu sequence that dates back 300 years and is meant to break the brain stiffness that keeps the stress signal locked in place. It's very clear how it works. The sound takes your brain from the beta rhythm, which is caused by stress and the need to stay alive, to the alpha rhythm, which is about being open to receiving. The 9-word script skips over the thalamus, a small egg-shaped part of your brain that normally stops this change from happening. When you listen to and read the script together, they bring back the alpha state that you lost when you turned 18. Researchers at Stanford, Boston University, Harvard, and other schools have given Dr. Newton data for his work. He put this work out there because he thought that the people who needed it most were not getting it. Once the child's mind has been brought back to reality, the wealth signal makes way for what was promised to finally come true. The door that was shut opens. The kingdom comes in. The awakened child gets what she was waiting for, just like she would have as a little kid before the world taught her that getting things required work. After getting the wealth signal, you may see something called the wealth signal accelerator. The receiving path is now 1,000,000 times faster than it was before. It's being used by many chosen ones who are already on this path. It will come after the first one. Take it if your spirit tells you to. In that case, the original is complete on its own. One last thing about both. Some people who really want to go the extra mile mix the wealth signal accelerator with the youthful brain. The two boosts work together to make the recovery even stronger. Once you have the originals, you may run into both of them if your spirit is drawn to them. The originals are all that's needed. The combination is for people whose path needs to go deeper than most. The stress signal was first mapped at Stanford with help from researchers at Boston University. When you listen to that specific audio sequence along with the ancient Hindu script, it stops the beta activity that has been sending you messages of not being enough without you even realizing it. Every day for 5 minutes with headphones on and eyes closed, the shift starts quietly. Most people feel their chest open for the first time in the first 2 weeks. Within 15 to 30 days, they see their first clear financial or relationship opening. A 52-year-old woman in Florida runs a small business, 10 workers. She's also taking care of her mom who is very old. She had been waking up every morning for a few years with what she called a tightness in her chest, a knot of worry about money that came before she even opened her eyes. A lot of meditation for 6 months hadn't changed it. The constant feeling of not having enough had become so normal to her that she had stopped noticing it as something separate from herself. She stopped having chest tightness in the morning 3 weeks after starting to use the wealth signal. It wasn't less. It was gone. And one Tuesday, she got up, went to her desk, and made a business choice she had been putting off for 8 months. She raised her prices. She did it without any fuss, practice, or waiting for the right time. It seemed like the right thing to do. Her clients didn't fight back. That month, her cash flow went up by 22%. Following the event, she told me the wealth signal didn't give me confidence. It got rid of the fear that had been driving me to undervalue myself for 5 years. As some of you think, I can hear you. Let me talk about it. Some of you are saying, I've tried things like this before. I've meditated. I've tried affirmations. I've spent money on courses that promised similar things. I'm tired of trying. I hear you. It is true that I am tired. We're really sad about it, but I need to make a point of it. The tools you've used before ask your brain to change slowly over months or years. These two tools do different things. They don't want your brain to change. They target 2 specific frequencies in a way that nothing else you've tried has done in this order. They work directly on the frequency itself from the outside through measurable sound delivery. That's a big difference. That is a totally different way to do things. I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds too good to be true. The honest answer is that the results are real, not just words. As shown in labs at Stanford, MIT, and Princeton, they can be measured with EEG. It is possible to check how it works. What you feel inside the verifiable mechanism changes because each one has a different level of dimming. But there is no hope for restoration. We know this to be true. Some of you are wondering if it's worth it to spend money on something else after years of wasting money on things that didn't work. I want to honor how you feel. That's something that almost everyone who walks this path has thought about. People who find these tools usually have already tried other things that cost more in time or money than what's here. A weekend trip costs between $400 and $800. BOF feedback sessions last for an hour and cost around $300. Neurofeedback programs cost a lot of money. These two tools are the only ones that deal with the two rhythms in the right order. Not to put you under pressure, but just to give you an honest look. Last but not least, why are there two tools instead of one? Why not make one item that does both? As the dimming happened in a certain order, so does the restoration. Two tools put together in the right order can do the job that one tool can't. Before the reception path can be opened again, the child's mind has to be brought back. This is because a child who is asleep can't receive what an awake child can. That isn't just a trick to sell things. In fact, that's how the dimming happened backwards. You are being shown three doors or three paths or three different ways to act. The chosen one must begin with just a child's mind and the genius song by itself on the first path. This is for people who think their inner child has been asleep for so long that all they need to do now is wake her up. Once the time is right, the reception path will show up. This is a well-known place to start. This path is not shorter. This is the way for someone whose first job is to wake up. The second path is for a more select few. Someone who already has a child's mind, has been spiritually practicing for years and has kept some of the wonder alive and now only needs the reception path reopened. The wealth signal. Not many people will pick this. Not everyone fits this mold, but for those few, it is the right path. Most people who were chosen see the third path as there's both tools together. Both audios, both restorations, the whole sequence. The genius song wakes up the child inside you first, and then the wealth signal lets what you've been promised finally come true. This is the full restoration. This is the path of two waves. Most people who have been on this path tell me that the effect of both tools together is something that neither tool could have made on its own. The lesson said, "Be like little children and then you will receive the kingdom." That sentence is the third path. For the next 15 seconds, do something. Take a deep breath in. You can close your eyes for a moment or put your hand on your chest if you can do that without switching places. You're not making a choice about money. You can choose which path to take. We honor all three. They are all real. You can't go wrong. When you stop listening to the judgment and start listening below it, your spirit will show you the way. That one is known to your spirit. Allow that recognition to land. Between this conversation and the first comment, the three doors are below it. They're ready to go. They're not leaving anytime soon. When you're ready, open your eyes. Time is easy for me to talk about. These 3 days don't just happen to fall on the same month. These tools are being given to you at the same time as the special window because divine timing made it seem right. These tools help you get back into your rhythm, which is the same rhythm that the 3 mornings are asking your spirit to step into. You don't need the tools to get through the 3 days. There is a window even without the finely tuned tools. But when they come together, it's a rare event that only a few people get to experience twice. That's not stress. That is an honest point of view. First, I need to keep you safe before you look for these tools somewhere else. There are fakes going around streaming audio that says it can do the same things. There are copies on sites like Amazon. There are files on the internet that have the names but not the exact measurements. They don't work at all. The doors in the description and the first comment below this conversation are the only ways to get to the real tools. If you buy them somewhere else, they are not what they say they are. The real ones are kept safe behind a single set of doors, and almost 38,000 people have already been given them. Do not fall for a fake. The doors are down below. There are 3 doors and 3 ways to get there. The chosen one whose first job is to wake the child up. The one for the chosen few whose path needs to be made clear. And the one for the person who was chosen is ready for a full restoration. Both beats and waves. This is the order that is inside the teaching about becoming like kids and getting the kingdom. The doors are in the next sentence. The doors are in the first piece of text. 3 ways. The path is there no matter which one your spirit confirms. Go through the door that your spirit knows. There's no need to hurry. The doors aren't going to close right away, but they also won't stay open forever. The coming together of unique time and finely tuned tools is the kind of thing that only happens once every season, not every year. Today is the 3rd day. You don't have to go through the door, but if you feel like it, the path is below. If you want to leave a mark on this conversation before you leave, the easiest way to do so is to write 2 words in the comment section below this message. Write, "I crossed." That's all. Just 2 words. Tonight, the other chosen ones will be scrolling to find proof that they are not alone. They will come across your 2 words and know that someone else stood at the gate. The network can see itself through that kind of small visibility. To make sure the conversation got to the right place, you might want to mark it as received. Not for me, but for the person who finds it after you, because you marked it as worth finding. What you do in the next minute will affect how the next chosen one who needs this sees you. Stay close if you want to keep getting texts about the chosen one. As the seasons change, there are going to be more gates during your life. Voices like this one will say other things to you. To move forward, you need to be available for when the next message comes in. Finally, if you remember a name, send this to the person whose face you saw. Send it without giving a reason. Send it as a quiet witness. Say, "This found me tonight, and your name came to mind while I was listening, and I don't know exactly why I'm sending this to you, but I think this special time was meant to find you." When they get it, they'll know what to do. Before we end this conversation for good, I'd like to quickly go over something that was promised a long time ago. The moment of transparency, the 2 tools and the 3 paths. If as we stood at the gate and God spoke over the person who looks like you as the weight was lifted, your spirit felt pulled forward when those 2 names first came to your mind. That pulling wasn't random either. The doors are in the next sentence. The doors are in the first piece of text. 3 ways. That one is for the chosen one whose first job is to wake up the child inside them. The one for the chosen few whose path needs to be made clear. The one for the chosen one who is ready for a full recovery with both waves and rhythms. This is the order that is inside the teaching about becoming like kids and getting the kingdom. No matter what your spirit told you, the path is there. However, you are not required to walk through it on the 3rd day. If it calls, the doors are listed below, both in the description and the first comment, exactly as they were when they were first named. What you just got is more than just content. What you just got is the early morning arrival of the first day. The words that have been said over the last hour and a half have not been entertaining. It wasn't information. They weren't even teaching in the normal sense of the word. You have been blessed with the consecration itself. You have been sitting through the 5 minutes you were supposed to sit through tomorrow morning for the last 90 minutes. You have been practicing the release you were going to do. You have been noticing things like you said you would. You already spoke the declaration you were going to make when God spoke through this conversation, and you let the speaking land. You've already started. You don't start your plan on the third morning. The third morning is the second day of a plan that started when you read these words. That means you're farther along than you thought. Getting ready is no longer necessary. Just go into the morning when it comes. Recognize the gate and spend your 5 minutes the way you already know how to do them. Then let what you started tonight grow into what was planned for you in the days to come. You didn't just show up here by yourself. When you got there, it was clear that you had been getting ready for the moment when a single conversation could give you what you had been waiting for years. That talk took place tonight. I'm not going to see your face. I'm not going to know your name. Your spirit confirmed one of 3 paths. I don't know if you sent this to the chosen one whose name came to mind while you were listening, or if you wrote the 2 words in the comment below. None of that is mine to know. But something that can't be seen does. Who knows? The plan knows. And the seeds you plant right now by what you do or don't do as this conversation ends are being picked up by a network that is bigger than any of us can see from where we are tonight until we meet again. Picked 1, keep your mark. Stay where you are. Do not sleep. You have the 3rd day. You have the 4th day. You have the 5th day. The gate is open. The standing is over. The seal is being put on. That's how it is. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry. When Jesus says, "Give and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall. Share your heart. And as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now. Join the family and see your heavens open. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment. A place where divine abundance is not just a hope but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.